Lesson 1: Sports, Society, and Institutional Meaning.
Of the meaning of sports, many have become aware of social and political importance.
Sports institutions often reflect broader societal values and tensions.
How do sporting events shape national identity?
Major events create shared narratives and collective memory for citizens.
Do athletes sometimes become symbols beyond their discipline?
Athletes can embody resistance, pride, or calls for reform in society.
Will political movements use sports as platforms for visibility?
Protests and symbolic gestures at events attract global attention and debate.
Should sports bodies remain neutral in political controversies?
Claims of neutrality are contested when human rights or justice are implicated.
Can boycotts of events influence political change effectively?
Boycotts can pressure authorities but also carry costs for athletes and local communities.
Are controversies about funding and stadium construction common?
Public spending on facilities raises questions about priorities and displacement.
Should hosts balance spectacle with long-term community benefits?
Responsible hosting must plan legacy uses and social inclusivity from the start.
Do sponsorships by controversial corporations provoke ethical debates?
Corporate ties may undermine legitimacy and spark calls for accountability.
Will athlete activism challenge traditional expectations of sportsmanship?
Activism expands the role of athletes as civic actors and can polarize audiences.
Are governing bodies equipped to adjudicate political expression by players?
Bodies face legal and normative dilemmas when policing speech in sport.
Should fans separate the athlete's performance from their political stance?
Separation is difficult because sports and social identity often intersect publicly.
Will media framing influence public perception of protests at events?
Media narratives shape which voices are amplified and which contexts are omitted.
Are grassroots sports programs important for social cohesion?
Community sports build inclusion, health, and cross-cultural dialogue at local level.
Should equity and access be central to public sports policy?
Policies that widen participation promote social justice and long-term public benefit.
Can investment in youth sports prevent social marginalization?
Structured programs offer opportunity, mentorship, and constructive outlets for young people.
Will megasporting events sometimes mask deeper governance problems?
Large spectacles can distract from corruption, inequality, and institutional failures.
Are debates about athlete compensation and amateur status still contentious?
Pay structures and labor rights remain central to modern sports governance debates.
Should athletes have protected channels to raise concerns safely?
Safe reporting and representation empower athletes and improve institutional accountability.
Will technology, such as VAR or wearables, alter the political economy of sport?
Technology affects fairness, surveillance, and commercial value in competitive contexts.
Are gender and inclusion policies transforming traditional sports institutions?
Policy changes expand participation but also generate contested adjustments and backlash.
Should sporting bodies engage with human rights frameworks proactively?
Alignment with human rights norms strengthens legitimacy and reduces reputational risk.
Can cultural diplomacy through sport improve international relations?
Sport diplomacy has historically built bridges but also can be instrumentalized strategically.
Will climate and sustainability concerns reshape event planning and facility design?
Sustainable practices reduce environmental impact and respond to global expectations.
Are athlete mental health and welfare emerging as urgent institutional priorities?
Welfare initiatives are crucial for humane sporting cultures and long-term performance.
Should historical injustices connected to sports be addressed openly?
Acknowledgement and reparative measures foster healing and institutional reform.
Will fan movements influence governance through organized advocacy?
Organized fans can demand transparency, ethical leadership, and community benefits.
Are legacy promises often used to justify risky bids for international events?
Promises must be scrutinized with realistic, enforceable plans to prevent harm.
Should education about civic implications of sport be part of athlete training?
Civic literacy equips athletes to navigate public roles responsibly and impactfully.
Will controversies over nationality, eligibility, and migration remain prominent?
Nationality rules intersect with migration patterns and generate legal and ethical debate.
Are commercial imperatives reshaping the calendar and priorities of sport?
Commercial scheduling pressures can conflict with athlete welfare and traditional rhythms.
Should local communities have veto power over disruptive infrastructural projects?
Community consent reduces harm and improves the legitimacy of development projects.
Will transparency in bidding, contracts, and budgets reduce corruption risks?
Transparent processes deter malpractice and enable informed public scrutiny.
Are educational videos about sports governance useful for civic audiences?
Clear, contextual content improves public understanding and fuels constructive debate.
Should journalists and creators model balanced coverage of sporting controversies?
Balanced reporting informs while resisting sensationalism and preserving nuance.
Will athlete unions and associations play greater role in future governance?
Collective representation strengthens bargaining power and institutional checks.
Are comparisons across different national sports models instructive?
Comparative study reveals varied governance models and potential reforms.
Should viewers be encouraged to reflect on how sport shapes local public life?
Reflection connects global narratives to local priorities and personal civic choices.
Will discussing controversial episodes help learners practice persuasive and critical language?
Examining controversies builds argumentative vocabulary and civic reasoning for learners.
Should lesson plans include short role plays on negotiation between stakeholders?
Role plays simulate real dilemmas and develop pragmatic, formal language skills.
Will summarizing key terms related to sports policy aid comprehension?
Glossaries of governance, legacy, and ethics terms support learner retention.
Should creators include triggers warnings for sensitive political content?
Warnings prepare viewers and maintain a respectful learning environment.
Will the intersection of sports and politics continue to generate trending discussions?
The entanglement of sport, society, and power will remain a fertile source of public debate.
I will present balanced case studies, model formal debate language, and encourage learners to explore the social and political importance of sports institutions.
Lesson 2: Slapstick, Laughter, and Cultural Taste.
People like slapstick comedy.
That style relies on physical humor and exaggerated actions.
The Three Stooges are classic examples of slapstick.
Their routines feature pratfalls, slaps, and rapid physical gags.
Why does slapstick make many people laugh instinctively?
Physical surprise and exaggeration trigger fast, visceral responses.
Does slapstick cross language barriers more easily than wordplay?
Physical humor often communicates without words and travels well across cultures.
Is slapstick merely lowbrow entertainment to some critics?
Critics sometimes dismiss it as crude, but others argue for its craft and timing.
Could that dismissal overlook technical skill and choreography?
Skilled performers time falls, use props, and protect each other to produce safe illusion.
Does the Three Stooges legacy influence modern physical comedy?
Contemporary comedians and films borrow timing, escalation, and visual gags from them.
Are there controversies about violence and slapstick when shown to children?
Concerns arise about imitation and normalization of hitting, even in jest.
Should content creators provide context and guidance when presenting slapstick?
Context and age-appropriate framing reduce risk and model safe interpretation.
Can slapstick be combined with satire to produce pointed social commentary?
Physical comedy can underscore contradictions and heighten satirical impact effectively.
Will audiences ever tire of classic slapstick routines?
Nostalgia and the universality of physical comedy sustain repeated enjoyment for many.
Should performers update slapstick to reflect modern sensibilities?
Modernization can preserve humor while avoiding harmful stereotypes and gratuitous harm.
Is there artistic value in choreographed chaos on stage or screen?
Choreographed chaos demands rehearsal, trust, and inventive staging, qualities of craft.
Do technological effects diminish or enhance the appeal of traditional slapstick?
Effects can amplify spectacle but risk losing the intimacy of live physical action.
Are live slapstick shows still popular in festivals and variety venues?
Live slapstick remains vibrant in physical theater, circus arts, and comedy festivals.
Should educators teach the history and mechanics of slapstick to students?
Studying history and mechanics deepens appreciation and informs responsible performance.
Will some viewers find the Three Stooges offensive due to outdated attitudes?
Certain portrayals reflect their era and may conflict with contemporary values.
Should historical works be shown with commentary to explain context?
Commentary helps learners understand historical context without endorsing problematic elements.
Can slapstick be adapted to explore vulnerability and resilience?
When used thoughtfully, physical humor can illuminate human fragility and recovery.
Is there a role for consent and safety protocols in staging slapstick?
Clear safety measures and mutual consent protect performers and audiences alike.
Will social media revive interest in short slapstick sketches?
Short, well-crafted clips fit social platforms and can go viral when they honor timing and surprise.
Should creators avoid encouraging harmful imitation by viewers?
Responsible messaging and disclaimers discourage dangerous imitation and guide safe practice.
Are there cultural differences in what physical actions are considered humorous?
Cultural norms shape perceptions of what is funny, acceptable, or taboo in physical comedy.
Should international performers research local taboos before touring?
Research prevents missteps and shows respect for audience sensibilities.
Will training in physical theater improve a comedian's range and safety?
Training develops control, falls, and expressive capability essential to effective slapstick.
Can slapstick engage language learners by pairing action with simple narration?
Visual action paired with clear, short narration supports vocabulary learning and retention.
Should lessons model polite description and critique of comedic scenes?
Modeling respectful critique teaches learners to discuss content thoughtfully.
Will controversy about portraying pain for laughs persist in public debate?
Debates continue, and reasoned discussion helps separate harmful tropes from skillful comedy.
Should content clarify the line between playful fiction and real harm?
Clarifying that line protects viewers and respects performer welfare.
Can slapstick be inclusive and accessible for performers of varying abilities?
Adaptive choreography and props can make physical comedy inclusive and innovative.
Will combining slapstick with narrative depth attract broader audiences?
Blending physical humor with strong storylines enhances emotional investment and artistic merit.
Should creators credit predecessors like the Three Stooges when inspired by them?
Crediting predecessors acknowledges lineage and teaches historical appreciation.
Will short, formal sentences help learners follow comedic descriptions and analyses?
Concise sentences support comprehension and allow learners to mimic structures in speech.
Should final teaching segments include safe warm-up and fall techniques?
Demonstrating warm-ups and safe techniques models responsible practice for aspiring performers.
Will respectful discussion of slapstick's limits and strengths make the content more credible?
Balanced analysis builds trust and invites thoughtful viewer engagement.
I will present slapstick with historical context, safety guidance, and clear language that teaches both humor and critical reflection.
Lesson 3: Posting and privacy on social platforms.
No, I have not. Where did you post it?
I uploaded it on my Instagram profile. It is public for followers.
Did you add a caption explaining the context?
I wrote a clear caption and tagged the location for reference.
Did you obtain consent from the people featured in the post?
I asked permission and received verbal approval from everyone involved.
Will commenting policies affect the discussion beneath the post?
Public comments can invite praise and criticism, so moderation is necessary.
Should you enable comment filters to remove abusive language?
Filtering protects the community and preserves constructive conversation.
Did you include any personal contact information in the post?
I avoided personal contact details to preserve privacy and safety.
Will the post's visibility attract new followers and engagement?
Public posts often increase reach, but they also invite broader scrutiny.
Should you be cautious about revealing precise locations in real time?
Real-time location sharing can compromise personal security and property.
Did you consider setting the post audience to close friends only?
Restricted audiences reduce exposure and keep content within trusted circles.
Will the platform's algorithm prioritize your post based on engagement?
High early engagement often boosts algorithmic visibility to more users.
Should you respond promptly and politely to comments and questions?
Timely, courteous replies build rapport and encourage further interaction.
Did you record the video in a place where filming is permitted?
I confirmed signage and local rules before filming to avoid infractions.
Will cropping or blurring faces of bystanders protect their privacy?
Blurring or obtaining consent demonstrates respect and legal caution.
Should you provide a brief content warning if the post contains sensitive material?
Warnings prepare viewers and reduce the risk of distress or offense.
Did you include hashtags to increase discoverability?
I used targeted hashtags but avoided misleading or clickbait tags.
Will sponsorship or paid promotion require disclosure in the caption?
Advertising rules mandate clear disclosure of sponsored content for transparency.
Should you archive or delete posts if someone objects after publication?
Respectful negotiation and corrective action, including deletion, may be appropriate.
Did you enable two-factor authentication to protect your account?
I enabled two-factor authentication to safeguard against unauthorized access.
Will analytics provide insight into who watched and engaged with the post?
Analytics show demographics and engagement patterns without revealing personal identities.
Should you avoid sharing private conversations or personal disputes publicly?
Public airing of private matters risks reputational damage and escalated conflict.
Did you credit collaborators and respect intellectual property rights?
I credited musicians and photographers and obtained permission for copyrighted materials.
Will resharing on other platforms require fresh captions and context?
Tailoring captions to each platform preserves clarity and respects audience expectations.
Should you review platform community guidelines before posting next time?
Familiarity with guidelines prevents violations and potential account sanctions.
Did you consider subtitles and concise captions for language learners?
Subtitles and clear captions increase accessibility and support comprehension for viewers.
Will you moderate direct messages to handle private concerns raised by the post?
Moderating messages protects privacy and allows discreet resolution of issues.
Should you keep backups of original files in case of disputes?
Backups document provenance and support resolution of content disputes.
Did you avoid sensationalizing sensitive topics to attract views?
Responsible framing avoids harm and maintains credibility with the audience.
Will you follow up with a pinned comment to clarify intent or corrections?
A pinned clarification addresses frequent questions and guides viewer interpretation.
Should you encourage respectful discourse and model civil replies?
Modeling respectful engagement sets a tone and encourages positive community norms.
Did you check that any minors in the post have guardian consent?
Guardian consent is essential when minors appear in public content.
Will you remove geotags for posts that might reveal regular routines?
Removing geotags reduces stalking risk and protects habitual privacy.
Should you prepare a short apology template for unintentional harm caused by posts?
A sincere, prompt apology can defuse harm and demonstrate accountability.
Did you consider using platform tools to limit comments to followers only?
Limiting comments can reduce trolling while preserving community interaction.
Will periodic audits of your public content help maintain a consistent image?
Regular reviews align content with evolving values and reduce future regrets.
Should you disclose any paid collaborations clearly with standard phrases like ad?
Clear disclosures comply with regulations and maintain trust with viewers.
Did you consult partners and featured persons before publishing promotional content?
Consulting collaborators ensures accurate representation and mutual agreement.
Will you keep a record of permissions and releases when people consent?
Written records of consent provide clarity and legal protection if disputes arise.
Should you avoid posting details of private residences or family members?
Protecting private addresses and family identities preserves safety and dignity.
Did you enable restricted mode or age gates if content is mature?
Age gating prevents underage exposure to inappropriate materials and respects platform rules.
Will respectful handling of criticism enhance long-term reputation?
Thoughtful responses build credibility and demonstrate maturity in public discourse.
Should you plan future posts with community guidelines and safety in mind?
Intentional planning prevents mistakes and fosters a reliable, respectful channel.
Did you include a call to action that invites learning and polite interaction?
A call to action encourages engagement and frames comments for constructive participation.
Will you follow up with a short tutorial on privacy settings for your viewers?
Tutorials empower followers to protect their own accounts and make informed choices.
Should you avoid posting while emotionally charged to prevent impulsive content?
Waiting until calm reduces regrettable posts and preserves thoughtful communication.
Did you consider translating the caption into other languages to reach diverse followers?
Translation broadens access and demonstrates consideration for international viewers.
Will you save a public copy of the caption and permissions for transparency?
Maintaining records supports accountability and straightforward referencing later.
Should you practice short, formal sentences in captions to help English learners?
Concise, formal captions aid comprehension and support language acquisition in audiences.
I will review the post, ensure permissions and disclosures are in order, and prepare a short privacy and etiquette tutorial to accompany it.
Lesson 4: Time Machines, Turf, and Careful Curiosity.
Grass and ferns grew thick around the yard.
I did not want to go too far away from my time machine.
Why keep the time machine so close to home?
Proximity reduced the risk of losing precise coordinates during return.
Would plants interfere with the machine's operation?
Roots and moisture could affect sensitive equipment if left unchecked.
Should one clear vegetation from around delicate instruments?
A clear perimeter prevents accidental entanglement and preserves calibration.
Will regular maintenance of the surrounding grounds be necessary?
Scheduled upkeep protects both technology and the natural environment.
Do ferns indicate a damp microclimate near the machine?
Ferns thrive in moist shade, which suggests careful moisture management is required.
Should moisture barriers or raised platforms be considered?
Elevating equipment and using protective barriers reduce corrosion risk.
Will removing plants entirely harm the local ecology?
Radical removal can damage soil stability and reduce habitat for small species.
Should landscaping be balanced with ecological sensitivity?
Thoughtful landscaping preserves biodiversity while protecting equipment.
Would discreet fencing keep curious visitors and animals at a safe distance?
Low-impact barriers and signage deter accidental interference respectfully.
Could controversy arise about altering a green space for technology?
Tension often emerges between conservation and innovation in public discussions.
Should community input inform decisions about the site?
Involving neighbors builds trust and uncovers concerns early in the process.
Will transparency about risks and plans reduce opposition?
Clear explanations and visible safeguards ease public anxiety and resistance.
Should one document changes and their environmental impact?
Documentation demonstrates responsibility and guides adaptive management.
Will botanical knowledge assist in selecting low-risk ground cover?
Choosing shallow-rooted, low-moisture plants minimizes infrastructure risk.
Should native species be prioritized to support local ecology?
Native plants sustain local wildlife and demand less intensive care.
Will artificial turf solve maintenance issues without ecological trade-offs?
Artificial surfaces reduce upkeep but can impair drainage and heat balance.
Should permeable surfaces be considered to maintain groundwater recharge?
Permeable materials balance protection with hydrological health.
Will nocturnal visibility be necessary to monitor the machine safely?
Subtle lighting can increase safety while avoiding light pollution.
Should lighting be shielded and low intensity to respect nocturnal fauna?
Wildlife-friendly lighting reduces disruption to local species patterns.
Will foot traffic near the machine require reinforced pathways?
Durable paths prevent soil compaction and protect both plants and equipment.
Should safety signage include concise instructions and warnings?
Clear signage informs visitors and enforces respectful distance for safety.
Will access protocols help when skilled technicians need to approach quickly?
Protocols and designated access points streamline maintenance and emergency response.
Should protective enclosures be harmonized with the landscape aesthetically?
Thoughtful design avoids visual intrusion while serving functional needs.
Will permitting or regulation apply to such an unusual installation?
Local regulations and permits may govern structural changes and public safety.
Should legal counsel be consulted before altering protected vegetation?
Legal advice prevents violations and clarifies responsibilities for stewardship.
Will monitoring soil chemistry help detect early problems near equipment?
Soil testing reveals changes that could threaten both plants and machinery.
Should pest
Integrated
control
pest
be managed
management
with minimal
prioritizes
ecological
non-toxic
impact?
methods and ecological balance.
Will emergency shutdown procedures require clear, accessible stations?
Accessible shutdown points protect personnel and reduce inadvertent damage.
Should a small buffer zone be established for unpredictable excursions?
A buffer provides an added safety margin for both experiments and daily life.
Will community education about the project reduce sensational speculation?
Honest outreach and tours can demystify technology and reduce fear or hype.
Could sensationalism about time travel attract unwanted attention?
Public fascination may bring both curiosity seekers and media scrutiny.
Should security measures be proportional to realistic risks?
Proportionate security respects privacy without unnecessary militarization.
Will ethical considerations arise about public access to extraordinary technology?
Ethical debate over access, safety, and societal impact is essential and often heated.
Should advisory boards include ecologists, engineers, and ethicists?
Multidisciplinary oversight ensures balanced decisions and responsible stewardship.
Will short, formal announcements help inform the public without alarm?
Calm, factual messaging reduces panic and encourages informed discussion.
Should experiments near living habitats follow strict environmental protocols?
Protocols protect species and maintain the integrity of both science and nature.
Will contingency plans cover accidental displacements or temporal anomalies?
Robust contingency planning addresses both technical and public safety scenarios.
Should data from environmental sensors be shared transparently with the community?
Shared data builds trust and allows collaborative monitoring of impacts.
Will careful placement and stewardship make coexistence between machine and meadow possible?
With respect, planning, and ongoing care, technological projects can coexist with green spaces.
I will maintain a respectful buffer, prioritize environmental safeguards, and balance curiosity with careful stewardship of both the time machine and the surrounding grass and ferns.
Lesson 5: Universities across Canada and the Atlantic Provinces.
Universities in Canada are distributed across provinces and territories.
Canada's Atlantic provinces host several notable institutions.
Which provinces comprise Atlantic Canada?
They are Newfoundland and Labrador, Prince Edward Island, Nova Scotia, and New Brunswick.
Do these provinces together offer a distinctive academic culture?
Their institutions blend regional heritage, marine studies, and small campus communities.
Are the Atlantic universities part of the total of 50 universities in Canada?
Yes, they contribute to the national network while serving local needs.
Will students find programs focused on oceanography and fisheries there?
Many Atlantic campuses specialize in marine science, fisheries, and coastal management.
Do these specializations reflect local economies and environments?
Academic focus often aligns with regional industries, culture, and ecological context.
Are there flagship universities in the Atlantic region?
Notable examples include Dalhousie University, Memorial University, and the University of New Brunswick.
Do smaller institutions offer intimate class sizes and community ties?
Smaller campuses provide close mentorship, accessible faculty, and strong local engagement.
Should prospective students weigh program fit over institutional prestige?
Program relevance, faculty expertise, and career pathways often matter more than broad rankings.
Will tuition and living costs differ markedly across provinces?
Costs vary by province and by student residency status, with some Atlantic locations offering lower living expenses.
Are scholarships and research funding available to domestic and international students?
Many universities provide scholarships, research grants, and work-study opportunities to diverse learners.
Do Atlantic universities collaborate with local industries for internships?
Strong partnerships with fisheries, shipping, healthcare, and tourism sectors create practical placements.
Will language and cultural environment influence student experience regionally?
Cultural warmth, smaller urban centers, and local customs create distinctive student life experiences in Atlantic Canada.
Should international students consider climate and travel when choosing a campus there?
Atlantic winters and travel distances are important practical considerations for international applicants.
Are research strengths in certain fields internationally recognized?
Research in ocean science, climate studies, and resource management draws global attention to some Atlantic programs.
Do universities across Canada form national research networks?
Cross-provincial collaborations and federal funding support large-scale projects and shared infrastructure.
Will provincial policies affect program availability and tuition regulation?
Provincial governments shape post-secondary funding models and regulatory frameworks for institutions.
Should students consult official university and provincial resources when planning applications?
Official admissions pages and government sites provide the clearest, most reliable guidance.
Are online and hybrid program options expanding across Canadian universities?
Many institutions now offer flexible online courses to reach remote and international learners.
Do degree recognition and credential transfer vary by province?
Credential recognition is generally standard across Canada, but specific professional licenses may require provincial steps.
Should prospective students visit campuses to assess fit when possible?
Visits help evaluate facilities, community vibe, and practical logistics for daily life.
Will campus housing options differ in availability and cost across Atlantic schools?
Housing supply and pricing vary with town size and seasonal student populations.
Are student support services like counseling and career centers widely available?
Most universities provide student services to support academic success and well-being.
Should learners consider undergraduate research opportunities when choosing a program?
Early research exposure strengthens skills, graduate prospects, and professional networks.
Will cooperative education and co-op placements be common in certain disciplines?
Co-op programs integrate work terms with study and often enhance employability after graduation.
Do Atlantic universities host international study abroad exchanges as well?
Exchange agreements enable reciprocal study opportunities with global partner institutions.
Should prospective students check language requirements and support for non-native speakers?
English language requirements and bridging programs may be necessary and are often well supported.
Are community colleges and polytechnics an alternative within the region?
Colleges offer applied training and pathways to university through articulation agreements.
Will alumni networks in smaller provinces still provide valuable career connections?
Tight-knit alumni communities often offer strong mentorship and local employment opportunities.
Should applicants research faculty profiles and recent publications?
Faculty expertise and active research indicate program vitality and mentorship potential.
Do universities contribute to regional cultural life through theaters and public lectures?
Campuses often act as cultural hubs offering events, museums, and public education programs.
Will climate research and adaptation be a growing focus for coastal institutions?
Coastal universities increasingly prioritize climate resilience and community adaptation studies.
Should students consider post-graduation settlement options in the region?
Local labor markets and immigration pathways influence post-graduation decisions and prospects.
Are graduate and professional programs available across a wide range of disciplines?
Atlantic universities host graduate degrees in law, medicine, engineering, and social sciences, among others.
Will collaborative inter-university programs expand opportunities for specialized study?
Joint programs and consortia allow students to access complementary strengths across campuses.
Should learners pay attention to accreditation for professional programs?
Accreditation ensures professional recognition and is critical for fields such as nursing and engineering.
Do cultural and historical studies within the Atlantic context offer unique research topics?
Regional history, indigenous studies, and maritime heritage provide rich academic inquiry areas.
Will student life in smaller communities foster deeper integration with local populations?
Small community settings facilitate interaction with local residents, enhancing practical learning and civic engagement.
Should content creators provide vocabulary lists and practical phrases for university applications?
Targeted vocabulary and templates help learners navigate application forms and interviews with confidence.
Are controversies about funding, regional equity, and program consolidation current issues?
Debates about research funding distribution, campus closures, and regional access are frequent and complex.
Will balanced discussion of such controversies aid learners in critical thinking and debate practice?
Presenting multiple perspectives helps learners develop nuanced language for civic and academic discourse.
Should prospective students seek current student testimonies and official data when evaluating universities?
Combining student voices with official statistics yields a fuller understanding of campus life and outcomes.
Will visiting official university ranking pages be helpful though not decisive?
Rankings offer one viewpoint but should be weighed with program specifics, fit, and personal goals.
Should the lesson end with practice prompts for application conversations and campus descriptions?
Practice prompts prepare learners to discuss options, ask relevant questions, and present their academic interests clearly.
I will summarize key differences among Atlantic institutions, provide practical vocabulary for applications, and encourage balanced research and reflection before choosing a university.